Welcome back, everybody. Mike DiMuccio here, aligning with success. It is June something, 28. That means there's 2 more days left in the month of June. And that means we're halfway through 2021. Pretty amazing, isn't it? Yeah, this year is a lightning speed for sure. Okay, well, 2 things I just wanted to highlight for you, and then we can just open up to some Q&A. I wanted to show you just the most recent thing that I added to the web page, except now I have to get that web page up again. Hang on a second. So most of you know we are now leveraging a tool that's a better way online. And I want to get some more feedback on this, by the way, for those of you who are actually using this, what you're finding, what just proper feedback. Anyway, so this page is supposed to be the page that gives you the ability to inform somebody remotely in the how conversation. The how conversation being, how does NICAN and everything it offers and everything we offer in terms of a system, how does that solve someone's need, which you've uncovered in the why conversation, the first conversation. So what I added, we've still got enjoy watching these videos. And then I added a link here. I replaced the link that said the sport bottle, and now instead it says PyMag water microsite. So if you click on that, it takes you to the microsite that I talked about, which is pretty cool, because then you can go to any one of these items, including the sport bottle, and for instance, the waterfall, and it gives you a really nice microsite page, complete with videos and a proper explanation of what the benefits of this unit are. For instance, clean alkaline water for 10 cents a liter, 38 cents a gallon. It's good for your health, good for your wallet, good for the planet. It makes a proper presentation of the item. More details for somebody who's looking for more details. Of course, the testimonials that were made famous in the testimonial contest that we held. And I did include, this page here, which gives you a nice anatomy. And I know people say, what's in it? You can just, it's all here on this one page. And then it shows you the price in Canadian dollars and in US dollars for all the items. So there's one example. There's also the sport bottle, and there's the microjet. So now we have a place that you can send people in order for them to learn more about the water technology. Of course, those 3 technologies are what's in our water pack. So it should help you. It just gives you a reference point. It's a link you can share. It's a reference point for informing people about the water technology. So I hope you like that and you get some use of it. So I do want to ask, before we move into month end and the concept and the strategy around month end, I do want to ask for some feedback from those of you who may be using the link there that I just shared with you, a better way, in order to help people get informed about NICAN. Any feedback out there?
Hi, this is Sammy.
Hi, Sammy.
Hi, I'm a friend of Paul. I'm not sure if he's on, but he introduced me to NICAN a couple of weeks ago and sent me the link. And I'm very much considering becoming a consultant. And I told him that I would make a decision by the 1st, because that's when I get paid. Yeah, I'm super excited. I went onto the website, and I'm actually a blind user. And so I navigated the site very well with my screen reader on my iPhone, and went through some of the videos, and just wanted to give that feedback that it worked really well for me.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's great news. I wanted to ask you, what was the hesitation regarding waiting till the end of the month to get involved?
Well, I'm just still learning about, I just have questions, and I'm briefly, I guess I'm a student. I'm getting my psychology degree, and I'm looking for call center customer service work and not really getting anywhere with that. As I'm sure out there, the job search is like having a job in and of itself, in that it is long,
Yeah.
tedious, frustrating, and full of lots of no's, and you just need that one yes. But in thinking about things, I was telling Paul that, it is a risk and a leap to kind of start your own business. But if I don't make anything from it, then I'm nowhere worse off than I am right now.
Okay, but can
So
I ask you, I'm just gonna, if you don't mind, I'm just gonna help Paul here a little bit. He is on the call, by the way, but I'm just gonna jump
Yeah,
in.
I'm here. Hi there.
It's okay,
My-
Paul. You can just stay in the background, Paul. I'm gonna talk with Sammy here
Yeah.
for a second here. Because I'm curious, Sammy's raising, obviously, Sammy, if I had to go by my gut instinct, I'm here and you're really excited about this. This really resonates with you. So
it does.
if that's my gut talking, then obviously your gut is, you're just confirming. So, one of the things we're not really well versed in or trained in is to trust our gut. And so we're adverse to risk because we think that if we don't know, if there's, I don't even know what proof one would need, but this idea of taking a risk, the risk is falling in line and doing what's expected of you traditionally. I'll tell you why that's a risk. Because if we look at the statistics of how people fare after a 40-year approach to traditional, then about 20% of the population actually enjoy what they do, which is really small when you consider you've done 40 years of it or some version of it. About 20 or 1%, only 1% is wealthy, and about 27% just kind of make it, ends meet. In my opinion, that's pretty risky in itself, right? And because people don't tend to do what they love, they don't follow their heart, their instinct, they tend to just, get a job for the sake of making money, then they feel a little bit compromised in terms of their personal integrity. And maybe that has a taxing effect on our overall health and well-being, our mental state, et cetera. So if you're not absolutely passionately in love with what you're doing, and you're only doing it for the sake of making money, then, I appreciate that that's what majority of people do, but is that really the life you want? What we have with Nick, and these are questions you have to answer for yourself, but it's really so minimal, the risk. I don't even see it as a risk, quite frankly, because when you enroll in Nikan, you're not alone. You join a family, you join a team of people who are very much interested in your success, very supportive of you, of your desire, and are willing to work with you and train you and assist you in terms of the calls that we do and so forth. And you get all that for free. If you were to start your own business, chances are you'd be on your own and you really wouldn't have much help. And if you did have help, you'd have to hire that help. And there's the risk because you're not really sure what you're getting. Everybody puts on a good show, but are you really going to get it? What you're paying for? Don't know. So here is a situation where you have people like myself, people like Paul, and there's many others on this call who will lend of themselves, their time. They'll participate, they'll create events that you can participate in and you can leverage, you can bring people to, and that costs you nothing. So the support that you have here is so incredible that if there was a risk, I honestly don't know what it is. I don't see the risk. And if you look at, oh, well, but I've got to put some money into this because I'm going to buy some of the products. Okay. Well, is that a risk, or is not taking care of your health a bigger risk? since every dollar we spend in Nikken products is actually contributing to your overall health and well-being, then it's really an investment in health and not at all a risk, the opposite of a risk. So even from a financial standpoint, there's nothing to risk. So the only risk, go ahead, you're going to say something.
Well, yeah, just two things. I was telling, my friends that I was going to do this, and one of them was quite concerned because she thinks the magnets is quote pseudoscience, and she's concerned about this being an MLM. Multi-level marketing.
Well,
company.
two answers to that question. If she knew what I knew, if she knew what I knew about multi-level marketing, she wouldn't be concerned at all. She'd be championing it from the rooftops. Most people who have an opinion about something are people who know very little about it. Opinions are commonplace, but expert opinions are far and few between. So if you're going to ask for an opinion for anything, don't ask somebody who doesn't know. Ask somebody whose opinion actually matters. And the measure of that is you will judge them by their fruits. So if they're not, would you go to the hardware store and ask an expert in drill bits how to do your accounting?
No.
So they have no place offering their opinion unless it's an expert opinion, in which case it's not really a valid opinion. It's just, an opinion about, oh, I'm afraid that you won't succeed. Well, that's a great, that's a nice pat on the back. Thanks very much.
She about this particular thing, she said she feels it's competition because the bottom people don't have, she feels like the top people are.
I love this for terminology. The bottom people, the bottom feeders, you
That's
lowlifes at the bottom of the pyramid are the ones who get sucked in. And okay, so let me tell you something that your friend doesn't understand, Sammy. When you join this business, you don't actually start at the bottom, you start at the top. And what the goal is to create a network. And the people who are both in your upline and your cross line, which would be the equivalent of cousins, brothers and sisters, and second cousins, which are on this call, by the way, they are there to help and support and create the environment that's conducive to your business's growth. So you start at the top and you work your way down. The notion of starting at the bottom and working your way up is the prejudice and the paradigm of employees. It's a mentality that comes from the traditional workforce. You start at the bottom and you climb your way up. And by the way, there's nothing more fierce than competition in that environment. Whereas in this environment, everybody's here to support everybody, which means collaboration, the antithesis of competition. So your friend is speaking out of turn yet again. What was that other point that they made? Oh, MLM. Right.
And the magnets.
On my magnets. Thank you. The magnets. You're talking to an aerospace engineer, former aerospace engineer. And the very thing that got my attention in 1991, December 1991, when I was introduced to this, was that this little tiny magnet on my back helped my back feel better for the first time in a year and a half after going to physiotherapy, chiropractic care, and massage therapy for that year and a half. I was in somebody's office every other day. Now, if you would have told me that day, Mike, it's a magnet, it can't possibly be helping you, I would have told you, I don't care if it's a firecracker, it's helping me because this is the first time in 18 months my back feels better. So the only person whose opinion about this thing is going to be valid is the one who's experienced it and knows from their own personal experience. And the only person who's going to be effective at marketing this is somebody who knows. And how are they going to know? How do they get to know? How do they get to have that kind of conviction and that passion?
By trying the products.
Yeah. That's the only ethical way of doing it. So if you want to classify that as somehow coercing you into buying the products, call it whatever you want. If at the end of the day you feel better and it makes sense and you want to tell other people about it, then consider this. This company has been doing it for 46 years this way. Do you think if this way was a disaster, a failure, a lie, we'd still be doing it? When everybody here is a volunteer,
Mm.
Nobody gets paid. We weren't hired to tell you this.
Mhm.
We tell you what we feel and what we believe to be true based on our experience. And the people who've been at this, there's people on this call who've been at this for over 20 years on this call right now. I've been at it 29 and a half years.
Wow.
So there's nothing any human being could convince me of that these don't work, because I've experienced them for 29 and a half years. And I've seen things that defy logic, but I don't care. It worked. Even if I can't explain it, and I probably could, by the way, as an aerospace engineer, but I won't. So do the magnets work? There's 26 people on this call, and I'll tell you what, 25 of those 26 people, I'm sure, are going to tell you, damn right they work. They really work. And the water works, and the sleep system works, and the air system works. And we have so many testimonies to speak to that. That's why we're here. That's why we have the passion that we have, because we've seen it with our own eyes. We felt it with our own bodies, and we trust what we feel. We don't need to hear it from somebody else who doesn't know. So, and I was getting back to my point about discernment and judgment and decisions. My mentor, Bob Proctor, he would say, don't look to the left, don't look to the right, don't talk to the person next to you. They don't know any better than you. If you don't know yourself, what do you think they're going to tell you? What good is their opinion? You need to be able to come to that conclusion yourself, because at the end of the day, it's your life.
Mhm.
And so we need to start exercising that decision muscle and start making decisions for ourselves, and knowing no decision leads to there's no wrong decision. There's a decision, a choice, and a consequence. A choice and a consequence. Life is nothing but choices and consequences. So some consequences are favorable, some are not. You adjust your choices accordingly. Hey, if that's what life was about, we wouldn't be so terrified to be making choices. And yet we do every day. So go with your gut. You know, Paul, I'm sure you know Paul well enough to know he's not going to lead you astray. And he's a great person to have as a coach and a mentor, by the way.
Yes, he is. Thanks, Paul.
So, Sammy, thanks for joining the call. And even if it's just for you
talking to me.
So, by the way, this is, now you're on the inside. You've gotten the secret handshake. You're on the inside now.
Thank you.
This call is not meant to be a prospecting call for guests, but we're happy you joined us, because at least you get to hear what we do talk about when we do have, meetings behind the scenes, so to speak.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure. Good for you, Paul, for inviting her. Well done. All right, Madeline, I see your hand up. Go ahead, shut up.
Introduce Veronica Williams. I just saw her helping a person return a car to budget. She gave above average customer service. So I gave her the link, and here she is. So that was just a couple hours ago. So let's see what Veronica has to say. I don't know whether she looked at the other link, but she got on this one.
Well, hello, Veronica. Welcome to Aligning with Success.
Hi. Yeah, I did meet Madeline at the airport. I actually worked down there. I didn't get a chance to actually look at the links that she did give to me, because I was going to run around after work. But she did give me a thorough explanation in the parking lot, and I was thoroughly impressed with the actual bracelets that she had me doing, like a little presentation with her hands in my hands. So I was kind of intrigued to see what was actually what the whole process was about. So she told me to join in today. So I'm just all ears trying to get some information to see what you guys are about.
Well, wonderful, wonderful.
Well, Michael, I asked her a few questions, and she said that she's looking for extra income. She's looking for an opportunity, and she's looking to attract the right man into her life. And she loves helping people. Well, that was obvious with what she did with the person and helping bring her back to my car and getting her 2 days of a rebate when they said she couldn't. She said, I just love helping people. So here she is, 3 simple questions, strength test out the window, and it's 95 degrees here.
So by the way, those of you who are listening, this is how we do business. Okay. It's not complicated. It's just help meet people's needs where they're at and show them a better way, which is why we call our link A Better Way, because we feel we do in fact have a better way of helping people physically, helping people mentally and emotionally, helping people build stronger, lasting relationships, helping people make a stronger contribution to society at a time when I think society could really use people who are contributors rather than takers. And obviously helping people find a solid footing financially. And by the way, let me just talk to that, because I think I did a presentation. I hope you guys have had a chance to see it. It's called Join the 1%. I just made up the name, but I think it's apropos, since there's only, 1% of the population that are financially independent, or I should say financially wealthy. Again, one of those things: healthy, wealthy, and wise, right? Where do you find somebody that has all three of those going for them? My daughters right now are putting together a bit of a video that they're going to talk about this, to talk to the people they're inviting. And one of the things they said is they took stock of all the people they know, and they thank God they came up with one person that they know is happy, healthy, and wealthy. Only one, but not very many that they know. So consider that. That is just simply not very common. And so let's not be common. Let's not be proud of being common. Let's be uncommon. Let's edify and support and put the uncommon effort, the uncommon goal as something that we should be praising and recognizing, not try to corral you into a box, which, most of the powers that be do that 24/7. All day long, they're trying to shove you into a box and make you feel less than you are, because they're afraid of who you are. If everyone stood up and actually became who they were intended to be, their God-given gifts come to life and come to light, oh my God, there would be no power that could hold you back. They would lose all form of power and control over the population. And God forbid they actually do that. So your independence, your autonomy, your sovereignty is what's at stake when you make a step forward to be your own being, your own boss, your own, choreographer of health and well-being. And, it's funny because we talk about this. The Japanese as a culture rank number one in health and longevity, number one. And they spend per person 1/3 what we spend in North America for health. Now, we use that term health quite loosely because we call it a healthcare system. And yet, if you are actually a customer of it, you're sick. So how can you call it a healthcare when it's a sick care system? You see, we don't even call it what it is. That's the joke. But in Japan, they spend 90 cents of every dollar on prevention, not intervention. They got it upside down and backwards. Well, guess what? Their results are also upside down and backwards. Their results demonstrate that their money invested in prevention has actually led to a healthier nation in every way, shape, and form. So wouldn't it be interesting to study what the Japanese do? Wouldn't that make sense? If you were a scientist and you were seriously interested in health and well-being of your population, would you not go to the places where the people are the healthiest and figure out what the heck it is they're doing? Wouldn't that make sense? Well, if you did, and you ended up in Japan, chances are you'd find out that they do what it takes to stay healthy, that they feel that that's a worthwhile thing to do in life, is to become well aware of what keeps you healthy. And it's actually simple. The funny thing is, health is actually the simplest of things. Stay healthy by drinking clean, healthy water, getting good, relaxing sleep, regenerative sleep, breathing fresh air, getting outside, getting some fitness, having good, solid, organic, whole foods rather than the junk foods and stuff. So it's not really rocket science. It's just going back to basics, going back to nature. So that's what we represent. And therefore, if you become part of this organization, what you're going to do every day is share what you've learned and hope that there's somebody listening and cares enough about themselves that they will want to know more. And so we put this link together a better way. It's not perfect. It's just a composite of things that we've got. But how many of you are finding some use with that you're actually seeing some, it makes life a little bit easier, that things are all in one place. Okay, that's great. I want to keep checking that out because if it needs to be tweaked and modified, we should do that and keep doing that. But I was referring to this video that I did called Join the 1%. It's about 10 minutes long. I did that video for a training, not a training, an event. I was the guest speaker at an event in Latin America. And so I did this video, obviously, in lieu of traveling there. But do share it, because I really think that that video helps explain to people our business model, especially because a lot of people have an opinion about it, but their opinion is really just that, an opinion. It's not informed. And I believe that this video helps them to get informed about the concept of being able to leverage other people's time and effort and ambition. That's something you can't even put a price tag on that. I don't know how much you'd have to pay for my ambition, but you probably couldn't afford me if you tried. But here I am working in Nikken because I choose to, and the people who are benefiting from that are wide. So yeah, imagine that, building an organization of people who are self-motivated, self-propelled, driven by their own passion and purpose, and you're going to benefit from that, as opposed to creating a corporation and hiring people to do the least that they can do to keep their job. And the corporate world, 20% of the people are responsible for 80% of the results, which means you're paying 80% of the people for 20% of the results. That's not very efficient. Whereas in this business, the people who do the work get paid. So who else we have here? Sue, you have your hand up.
Yeah, I mean, Mike, is this on your A Better Way page now, or is this somewhere else, your new video?
Which one, the 1% one?
Yes.
No,
yes.
I just circulated that on the WhatsApp channel.
Okay, all right, I hadn't
Chat.
seen it yet.
Yeah, I haven't put it on there because, again, it's good. I mean, I would like to, but is it too much? You might want to have something in to just send as a follow-up and say, hey, I don't know where you're at on this, but check this one out. It's a process, right, guys? The business of enrolling people, informing people is a process. Yeah, Sammy, you got your hand up again. Sammy, you're mute. Let me ask you to unmute. You've got your hand up. While Sammy's working on unmuting. Anybody else? Oh, there you are.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Uh-oh.
I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yep. Go ahead, Sammy.
Something happened in my...
We can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay. Hi. I'm sorry about that.
Go ahead.
I just forgot what I was going to say. Wow.
You're going to say that you're joining us.
WhatsApp.
You can't wait to get started.
Thank you. The WhatsApp, would it be okay if I could be added to that, or
as a consultant? Yes. I mean, as
a consultant. Okay.
Yeah. And by the way, I don't know if Paul's gone over the details with you, but to register as a Nikken consultant, it's a whole whopping $19.99.
Yeah, that's like so expensive. No, it's fine. I'm kidding.
So
yeah, that would be great.
Yes.
Okay.
And we have, it's called a Nikken, it's the core consultant. What do we call it? Core consultant. There's one more word missing. I don't know why I'm missing it, but anyway, it's the Nikken core consultant, right? It's the Nikken core consultant WhatsApp chat. That's one of the ones that you're going to want to be part of, because that's sort of the family chat. If you're in Canada, we have a Canada chat specifically called Team Canada, Team Nikken Canada. There's another chat that's called Tools. So what's really, and all these, by the way, if you want to be part of these chats, guys, I get requests all the time to be added to the chat.
We're having an earthquake.
Oh my.
I'm sorry. I'm going to mute real.
Wow, an earthquake. How bizarre. I've never had a call with somebody having an earthquake on it, but I have been in an earthquake. Not fun. As I was saying, I'm getting requests for people to please add me to the WhatsApp group. They need to actually have a link, the link to join. And if you're on any of these groups already, if you learn how to look through the back, if you call it the back channel of that, you know, where it shows you the tabs of media, documents, and links, go scroll through the links and you'll find that I've posted it more than once, the link to join a chat, whether it's the tools chat or the core consultant chat, and just share that with your people, because that's how we need to add them. Also, if you're not already on the core consultant newsletter, those links are embedded in the core consultant newsletter that is written every week. Ben does the editorial on that every week. On Fridays, it's sent out. So definitely get on that. And I'll give you the link for the let me give it to you here in 1 second. News.
Hi, we're all right now.
Oh,
Sorry
good.
about that.
No.
Whew.
I know, scary. I've been in a 7.3 in
Yeah.
California, and it's not fun.
Oh, I live in California.
Oh my. Is that where you're calling
So-
from?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I
that
live in the
makes
San
sense then.
Francisco Bay Area.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
It's probably all that excess heat, just trying to get a little bit of relief.
Yeah.
So
Hey.
join the core consultant newsletter. Here's the link, guys. It's bit.ly. So bit.ly/CC newsletter subscribe, all one word. CC newsletter subscribe. So bit.ly/CC newsletter subscribe. So share that with people who are enrolling, and they could get informed once a week on what, you know, stuff that we've got going on, and the links for all the WhatsApp groups are embedded there. They can join the groups there. All right, let's switch gears here for a second, because we're at 9:30 and I do want to have a few more Q&A. We're coming up on month end, and this is 2 days, I guess, 2.5 days. We're in month end, the 30th. So what normally happens month end is everybody's shooting for whatever promotion, whatever rank, whatever incentive that they're going for. So encourage that, you know, look at your teams, look at who's nearing those benchmarks, because I think it's really, really important we recognize movement, achievement, and set that as objectives every month. So helping people to attain that should become the focus of your efforts right now in the last 2 months. Who on your team, including yourself, is inching toward a promotion, an incentive, something like that, and start strategizing how to make it happen. And I'll tell you, there's 2 things that I do. One is I look where points are needed and how many points are needed. And then we find out whether these people who are approaching the rank have anybody that they've been in conversations with about NICAN, that maybe they would be in a position to make a decision if we had an ABC call, and if maybe there was some type of incentive that would inspire that movement to happen. So there's 2 types of incentives that I usually work with. One is points and one is product. So for instance, I'm just going to say it for instance because it's top of mind, but there's a lot of products in, for instance, the energy pack or the water pack. There's multiple products, which means those are products that could be utilized in some type of an incentive, either this month or for next month, if you're looking at helping somebody move forward. Then consider that. Consider how incentives, whether it's products or points. So I could, for instance, use, let's say, a sport bottle. Somebody might want a sport bottle as a gift if they, did X, Y, or Z as a customer. But that sport bottle has to be purchased somewhere. So the points could be purchased somewhere else and the sport bottle delivered to a second address. So that's what I call leveraging points and leveraging product. And you can figure this out as you start to work with that idea. Who needs points and who could use some products to incentivize some movement? So that's what I call month-end stretch. And I'll tell you, when you get really good at this, you can help create some really amazing volume surges toward the end of the month, kind of like a tic-tac-toe, because let's say there's 3 people involved, A, B, and C. A, who sponsored B, and B, who's possibly sponsoring C. Well, the right incentive for C might cause C to do something, enroll, get going. And that could bring B even closer to their goalpost, which means B could also be involved in incentivizing this. But that could also trigger A in helping A get to their goalpost. So you could have like a tic-tac-toe where one conversation can lead to 3 different things being inspired as somebody's getting closer to their goalposts. So think about that in the last 48 hours of the month. Who can you help? What incentives can you create to help get some movement happening where it's needed, and support that forward motion in your team? Any comments or questions about the call so far, or any of the calls that we've been having? Because we've been really sort of going over the process, trying to help people really understand the flow of information so that you can help somebody make a decision that's in alignment with their goals. Any questions or comments? Go ahead, Sue.
Yeah, Mike, what would you say? I mean, a couple of times an issue has come up where it's a prospect and they're fairly new to hearing about NECAN. And the question of an ABC, when it's brought up about talking with someone that maybe has some more experience or can answer the questions better, the prospect says no, they don't want to talk to anyone. What would you suggest in that scenario?
Okay, well, first of all, it should be mentioned in the very first call. Let me just qualify this. Are we talking to somebody who is potentially going to join you in business, or is this a customer potentially?
Well, it could go either way. It's just someone who's fairly new to hearing about this. They've never heard about NECAN, and yet they have questions, but they don't want to, they kind of refuse to do the ABC.
Because they're afraid that they're going to be sold.
Pressured, maybe they're afraid of being
right?
pressured.
So take that off the table. Tell them, look, this is just an information process. They're not going to ask you to buy anything. They're not going to try and sell you. It's just to give you the information you're asking for so you can make an informed decision. And by the way, if you were to get involved with me, this person would become your partner as well. And I think it's important you get to know who you would be in business with, don't you? So that's what I like to say. I like to say that if you decide to get involved, then this person's going to also be your partner. And I think it's important you get to know who your partners are, if that's going to be part of your decision.
I mean, and sometimes I like to say, well, I'm new, I don't have all the answers. If we talk to someone who's more experienced, we can maybe get your questions answered better. But it's just when there's resistance, you just don't know how hard to push.
Well, okay. Now let me ask you something, Sue. Are you new?
Well, no, I'm not, but.
Exactly. So there's a double-minding message in that frequency of yours. And that's probably what they're picking up on. So be more transparent. I'd say I could probably answer that question, but I know somebody who could probably answer it a lot better, more clearly, and you could relate to them better. I mean, it's really, again, take the pressure off. This is not about trying to twist anybody's arm or convince anybody. The old sales tactics, the old car sales tactics. I think you'd go into the dealership and they would do the Mutt and Jeff, and somebody would come in and do the heavy close or whatever. That was the way it was. And a lot of people are conditioned to that and resistant to that. But if you keep it on the level and just say, look, having you get the information that you need to make an educated decision is all I'm about. This is what we do. And so it is in my opinion, the best thing I could do for you is to have you informed by this individual. If after that, you're not convinced, you don't see any benefit, that's not going to change anything. There's no obligation for you. But if it's really about you getting informed, you're asking the questions, and it's my obligation to answer them. And I have to answer them in the best way I know how. So I think it's just that.
Thank you.
It's be really transparent, be vulnerable. Barb, you got your hand up.
I do. I've run into this a couple of times and I've tried something different. When there's been pushback, I've asked them outright, is there a reason that you would prefer not to speak to somebody else? Am I missing something that you need to express to me? Are you concerned about something? And I dig to get their answer. Then I say what you've been saying, Mike, that this is an opportunity to get your questions answered, no strings attached. If after you've got your questions answered, it's not the right decision for you, that's okay, because it's always your decision, not ours. It's yours. We're just presenting the facts in the best way we know how. And if you need to hear another perspective besides my own, I'm more than happy to arrange that. And I haven't had pushback since I've been using that approach. It's been working. So, but I've had to dig to find out why they're pushing back, what their concern is. And it always boils down to the fact they think they're being sold.
Yeah.
And you got to take that off the table.
Cool.
Is
Good
that
advice.
helpful?
Absolutely. Good stuff. Any other questions, comments, guys? Going once. All right. Well, this doesn't have to be a long call tonight. That's fine. Again, we're at month end, so you're better, you know, especially those of you on the West Coast are better off using this time to maybe reach out and make a few more contacts. Again, I'm really interested in your feedback, genuinely interested in your feedback on the page, A Better Way, how it's working for you, how you're using it, and if there's tweaks, what tweaks would they be? I realize that not everybody's going to sit there and go through everything. You don't know. You just don't know. Everybody has their own opinion. But what I like to do, what I like to recommend is I like to recommend that they go through the first 2 videos, at least do the first 2 videos. It's about 9 minutes total. That way, you know, they are going to do at least that. So they're not overwhelmed with what they see. And hopefully if they see that, that's inspiring enough that they might, you know, look at a few other things along the way. Because some of the items are just documents. You have your hand up, June?
Yes, the 1%, you say that's on WhatsApp?
Yes, on the Core Consultant WhatsApp, and on the Tools WhatsApp, I shared it as well.
Okay.
Yeah, if you can't find it, just send me a text message on WhatsApp preferably, but just you can all, by the way, do you all know that if the person is on WhatsApp and you go to the contact list, you can send them a private message. So anybody who's on those WhatsApp groups, you can talk to.
All right, thank you.
I have feedback on the Better Way, Mike. I've sent it out numerous times and I've been getting feedback. Most of the people have been through half of the posted items on it, and I haven't had one negative comment thus far.
Oh, wonderful. Wonderful. Well, then we're on the right track. Okay, wait, I got a hand up. Paul, you got your hand up.
Yeah, the Better Way, the best part, I mean, the information is great. The best part about it is it's such an easy ask. We're expanding a company. There's a link called A Better Way. Would you take a look at it for me? Tell me what you think. It's so short and sweet. And even if they don't look at it, I'd love to get your feedback. Sometimes people will say yes, they'll look at something, and then you call them, they haven't. But it's just so easy to open, to start the process. And that's the most important part anyway. After that, you know, once something's started, you just keep going.
Yeah, excellent. Well, that's just it. It makes the ask, because all you're really intending to do is inform somebody, and all you're asking them to do is go through the information. So you're not asking them to buy, you're not asking them to do anything other than to become informed and see if there's a fit. Now, the thing I like to do personally is, if they're a contact that I have, you know, identified as somebody I really actually do want to partner with, then that's what I tell them. I'd love to partner with you. I think I know how. Not sure if it's for you, but you know, if we can go through this information with me, I think you'll find that there may be a fit. That's a simple approach, and then you follow up. I love following up and making an appointment with an ABC. I think that's an appropriate next step, because I think they need to hear from somebody else live and answer questions. So get in the habit. If you're not making a habit of doing a three-way call with your sponsor or somebody, just anybody, somebody other than you, get into that habit. I can't tell you how important that step is. It just seems to make a difference when they hear from someone else, and that someone else has their own story to share. And when it's a video, it's something. It's great. It can be impactful. But when you hear it on a live call or a live Zoom from somebody, it's just different. It has so much more impact. So keep that in mind. That's going to help you tremendously, especially, by the way, if the next question is, well, okay, so if I were to get involved, you know, what does that look like? What does that entail? Then now that's a real conversation. So you might need some help to get that information across. Also, not to forget our events calendar. You know, we have some pretty powerful events that are taking place every week and every month on Zoom. And those are ABCs. If you're not doing the presentation, then it's the A. So leverage. For those of you who are new, Sammy, you're listening, you're new. Keep that in mind, Sammy, that the best thing you could do in this business is put Paul to work. Okay? And believe me when I tell you, he would be thrilled. He would be thrilled if every time you called him, you had somebody new on the phone. He would be thrilled. That would be the best use of his time. So,
I was actually going to ask you, I hope it's okay to ask right now on here, but, if we could set up a Zoom call, either
Sure.
with you and me or with you, me and Paul, it doesn't matter.
Yep.
But yeah, okay. Well, I'll be in touch.
Okay.
Thank you.
My pleasure. All right, folks, I think we've had it for tonight's call. I don't see any other questions. So let's do that. Have a great month end, and we'll see you next time. Good night, everyone.